So I just came back from a very, very, very nice date, and I've changed into my loungewear, and I started thinking, and this is something that I do every day. These are the thoughts that run in my head every single day. And these are thoughts that my friends, my family, people close to me have already grown used to or grown accustomed to. But I wanted to come here and share it with you. One day, your life is going to be over. And if you're Nigerian watching this, you're probably going to say, oh, God forbid. But here's the thing, this is not a suggestion, or this is not optional. This is not a statement where you have to choose whether or not your life will be over. This is factual. One day, you, everyone that you know and you love, all of our lives would be over. In August of 2025, my sister called me one day and she asked me, and she said to me, I have something very important to ask you. What would you do if you knew that you only had 1 year left to live? And without hesitation, I told her, no, I'm not going to change anything. And she was really surprised. She's like, you're not going to change anything? I said, no, because either way, I already live life like I'm going to die tomorrow. And she was like, you know what? You're right. And here is the thing. We always say, just live like it's your last. But in practice, we do not uphold that. It's just something that we say, I don't know, maybe to sound philosophical or to sound serious. But how much of that do we actually put in practice? Live like it's your last. Live every day like it's your last. Except that we do not do that. In February of 2012, my cousin came to visit us. It was February 4th, 2012. It was a Saturday. He came to the house that morning. He had just gotten a new haircut. And I was asking him, why did you shave off all the hair on your head? Like it was like bald. He shaved everything. And we were laughing, and he just said, oh, I brought my wife to the hospital this morning to have injections. We're going to come back in the evening. I said, sweet, do you want to eat anything? He ate. And he left with his wife and 3 kids, and his son was only 1 month old that day. He was born on January 4th, 2012. So that was exactly his 1 month birthday. My cousin had 2 girls and a boy. They went home, and that evening, he drove the wife back to the hospital for her evening injection. And he did not make a stop to the house like he said he would. Later that evening, I got a call from my mom, and she's like, oh, your cousin is dead. I said, what? She said, yeah, he died in a car crash on his way from the hospital back to the house. And he had slammed his head on the windscreen, and the glass split his scalp in half. His skull in half. In July of 2013, I spent the Sunday with my 24-year-old cousin who drove me back to school on Sunday. And we were talking and laughing. And he said, oh, I'm going to Lagos on Wednesday. I said, oh, okay. Have a safe trip. And he said, thank you. I hugged him and I said my goodbyes. On the evening of that Wednesday, I got a call from my sister, and she said, oh, he died. I said, what? She said, yeah, he had a car crash on his way to Lagos. He was only 24 years old. And he did not even get the opportunity to enjoy life. And I think, all of these accumulated experiences always made me conscious of my own demise. There's a way I live life. I love to talk about death. I talk about death every day, 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, night, every week, and every month. Because talking about death makes me comfortable. And I like to say, and I like to believe that there are no certainties in life. You cannot guarantee anything in life. You couldn't say you're going to live long or you're going to live a short life. You couldn't say, you're going to be healthy all the days of your life, no matter what you do. Even if, you're a gym god, even if you went to the gym every day, you could wake up tomorrow with cancer and there's nothing you can do about it. So there are no guarantees in life. You get married today to someone that you love because you are absolutely smitten by them. But you cannot guarantee they wouldn't wake up tomorrow and decide, yeah, I just want to take them out. And then they take your life from you. You cannot guarantee anything in life. You cannot even guarantee that this person you love so much will not cheat on you, betray you. The same person who vowed to protect you. You cannot guarantee that they will keep their word. There are honestly no guarantees. You know? But there is only one guarantee in life. Of all the things in life, you cannot guarantee anyone except death. Death is the only thing that you can guarantee in life, which is why death itself, to me, is also part of life. That's the one thing in life that you can say with a 100% certainty would happen. I cannot guarantee whether or not I'll get rich. I cannot guarantee whether or not, I'm going to be healthy or be happy or marry the love of my life or meet the love of my life or have children or that my parents would, live long or that I would continue to be in good graces with the people that I love. I cannot guarantee all of that because life can happen to any of us. But the one thing that I could say 100% is that everyone that I know and love would one day die, including myself. And that is a very hard pill to swallow because coming from Nigeria, we do not talk about death. It's almost as though we think talking about death will bring it closer. But here is the thing. I think part of the reason death shocks us all the time is because we never talk about death. We want to shoo it away. We feel talking about death means nobody's going to die. If I avoid talking about death, that means, oh my God, I'm safe. I'm never going to die. But we are surrounded by death. Death itself is part of life. You wake up every day, you're happy, you're alive. But every day that we wake up means we are etching a little bit closer to our death. Every year we pass the month, the day, the hour, the time, the minute of our death. Except that one day it's going to be final. I mean, think about it like your birthday. Every year your birthday passes. Like clockwork, your birthday passes. That is also the same way your death day passes. Every year we're skimming through and passing through the day we die. We just don't know it yet. And my uncle, bless his soul, because he too has also passed away, would always say, the hour or the day nobody knows. When I was younger, my mom always said a phrase that is loosely translated, even carrying a child on the lap will not stop the child from dying. Basically, sometimes there is absolutely nothing you can do to stop yourself from dying. And when it's your time, when death calls, you're going to die. The only thing is just hope that when it gets to your turn, you've lived life fully, wholly, and presently. And this is why my entire goal in life are two things. I want to be happy and I want to maximize life. When I say maximize life, I want to live life till I am empty. I feel like there is just so much life left to live that I want to do it every day. And the one thing I do not want is to regret anything. So I am conscious of my own demise. I am aware of my own death. And I think about my own death all the time. And this is one of the things that encourages me to live. The biggest motivation I have to live life is death. Death for me is a motivator. Death is not something that I fear every day. I'm just like, oh my God, I hope it's not my turn today. No, that's not. It's not. Thinking about death is not in the manner of I am afraid. It's in the manner of I need to maximize life. And it's the conscious reminder that time is, finite. It's not infinite, it's finite. We have a limited amount of time. And even if you are Metisela, even if you lived so long, you're begging for death to come, at most 150 years. And that 150 years would come, even if you were the longest living person and you lived till your 140th birthday. Well, guess what? Your 140th birthday would still come and it will still be your time. I live with this consciousness every day, which is why every day I choose to be happy. And most times people tell me, oh, you're always smiling. But I have so many problems, so many personal problems. And I remember all the times growing up when my mom would tell us that if you're looking for reasons to be mad, reasons to be sad or unhappy, you will find it. Even the weather would make you upset. The driver who just honked for the third time would start pissing you off, right? The one who is driving slowly in front of you is making you upset. The one who is tailgating your car behind is moving mad. Everything is going to piss you off, right? But the same reason or the same way you can find reasons to be unhappy, you can also find reasons to be happy. And that is the decision that I made for myself, that I'm going to always consciously seek out reasons to be happy. My life could be turning upside down, but I'm going to be happy. On the 14th of May 2024, a day after my 28th birthday, I almost drowned in Barbados. Like, I was drowning. I was already halfway gone. But somehow I survived. And I was shook to my core because my life would have ended in an instant. I thought about the fact that I had just gotten off the phone with my sister and I told her, oh, I'm coming. I'll just dip my feet in the water. And that would have been the end. I think about it and I have shivers run down my spine. But here is another thing. The reason I consciously celebrate my birthdays every year, even most times I have to celebrate them myself, is because I think about every birthday like it's my last birthday. I wonder, what if I never get the chance to celebrate my birthday again? Like, what if this is it? What if that's it? That is why you cannot make me upset on my birthday. I don't know how people go around, they don't celebrate their birthdays or they let people piss them off. You cannot make me angry on my birthday because I have made a conscious decision that nothing in my life would push me to the point of being unhappy. On my own birthday, you're a joker. You're joking. Even if life was flipping me in 360 degrees, it is a conscious effort that I have made that on my birthdays, nothing will stop me from being happy. And I will celebrate my birthday. And I don't mean throwing parties. The last time I actually had a birthday party, like party, was my 20th birthday. And I just turned 30, like on Wednesday, right? Just this last Wednesday, I turned 30 years old. Yeah. And I went to LA by myself. At the end of the day, I am going to celebrate my birthday every year because life is worth living and life is beautiful. And as mundane as this sounds, the truth is that one day this life will stop being mine. And I think about it, which is also why I just do whatever it is I want to do. I told myself I'm going to travel as wildly and as possible as I can. And I prioritize my joy. I make time to enjoy my life. Like, you have no idea. The way I plan everything else in my life, I plan my enjoyment. I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to go to this place and go to that place. And if I say I'm going to go somewhere, it's not just word of mouth. I go there. That is how slowly but surely, at 30 years old, I have been to over 100 cities in 42 countries. And 40 out of those countries, I went solo. I went by myself because I'm not going to postpone my joy. And I think I have already told the story of how I was pushed into traveling. Long story short, we got a visa to Japan, which was so hard. I was supposed to go with a friend. This was supposed to be my 20th birthday present for myself. And I also was graduating from school. Last minute, she decided, oh, she's going to see her man. Yeah, she bailed on me. And I ended up not going. And before I had the opportunity to go to Japan again, 7 years has passed. And all I thought was, this is something that meant so much to me. But I did not do it because I let somebody else's decision influence mine. And what if I never got to live long enough to go to Japan? I feel like that would have been the only regret I would have in my life that would make me never rest in peace. So I always thought to myself, if I see an opportunity, I will take it, I'll grab it, I'll run with it, and I'll make the most out of it. This is also why in everything I do, I give my 100%, right? Look at me. I was born in Nigeria. I was raised in Nigeria, but somehow I have fought my way to the US, Canada, Australia, getting myself permanent residencies in all these countries. Because if I decide I'm going to get something, I pour my head into it. I would go after it. I'll get it. Because the last thing I want is to roll on my deathbed and, just wonder and regret what could have been. So, yes, one day your life is going to end. So, what are you going to do with the life that you have right now? Because obviously, I've been around death. Being a nurse for 12 years, I've been surrounded by death. You see people at the last moments of their lives and, they have all these regrets. When I worked in gastro in the UK, where I dealt so much with people that had all kinds of, cancers, abdominal cancers, from stomach cancers to colorectal cancers, liver cancers, name it, pancreatic cancers. And when they're on this, end stage life care, you ask them, what would you have done differently? And they say, oh, Favor, I wish I traveled. I wish I just, I wish I was more content in what I had. I wish I had just taken the chance to go on the field trip to Australia when I had the opportunity. I wish I, was braver. I wish I traveled abroad. They said all those things, and oh my God, I'm about to cry. They said all those things, and I told myself, I don't have to get to that stage in my life to wish I did not do something. The whole reason that we have older people are people who have already paved the way for you, people whose mistakes you can learn from. Why would you want to wait and make all those mistakes when you can learn from other people? Yes, make your own mistakes, but not mistakes that will cost you so much. So, my entire goal in life is to maximize life, which is why I have so many hobbies. Today I'm drawing, tomorrow I'm painting. I actually bought this very small stuff I'm going to paint on tomorrow. It's very mundane, it's so small. Let me show you, but I like it. See, it's not a lot, but I'm excited to paint on it tomorrow. You know, I think about it. Whenever I like something, I do it over and over. I love pasta. And as cheesy as it sounds, every time someone asks me, what do you want to eat? I just lift my hand and I say, pasta. And then I like sushi. I go out to eat the same sushi all the time from the same restaurant shamelessly. I love to travel. And I'll do so by myself. I'll book a trip and I would go and stay in my hotel room by myself. Every day I would go on these solo walks. I go to the park. I stay up late. I sleep in. I drink matcha. And when I do all these things, I tell myself one day it's going to be my turn where all I would do is hope that my life not only has been enough, but that my life is empty. I have nothing else that I could have given because I've given everything that I have. So, yeah, I'm just here to remind you that one day your life will be over. Yeah, not today, even if that's in the next 80 years. One day your life will be over, and life is not infinite. You have time right now. You're alive, we're breathing, we're healthy. So just live. Try your best to live, and seeing the positives in life does not mean that life is devoid of all the pain and suffering. I could even tell you all about my life journey and somehow how I ended up having surgeries, two surgeries, and being on general anesthesia by myself, or how I had a surgery and fell down and almost died, or how I had a seafood allergy, a shellfish allergy, or how I had a food allergy in a foreign country and it almost killed me, or or how I go to different hospitals and just try to figure out what's happening with me. But at the end of the day, I'm still optimistic that life is beautiful and that life is worth living. Because I know that one day my life is going to be over. And then when that day comes, I hope I die with joy, having remembered that I've given everything I can to this life. I've poured so much into the world and into myself, and most importantly, that the life I've led has been more than enough. And that if I had one day left, there wouldn't be anything else that I'd want to do because I'm content in everything I've already done. I want to die empty. I want to die having maximized life. So, yes, one day my life would be over, and so would yours. And I hope that when that day comes, you die with gratitude, knowing that there's really time for everything, knowing that truly there is time for everything. There's a time to be born, and there is a time to die.